Hey, listeners, are you tired of not being able to tell any of us apart because all you know is our voices? Would you like to see us in person so that you cannot tell us apart even when you see our faces?
Would you like to hear about the Adventures in Odyssey 1000th episode grand celebration without actually having to attend it?
Do you like Colorado?
If any of these things apply to you, you need to get your ass out to the Worst of All Possible Worlds live in Colorado Springs on August 4th, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. That is a Sunday night.
Doors are at 6:30. You can come there. We'll talk at you and things.
Where are they going? Where is this?
Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. I thought you never would. They will want to go to La Burla B, which is located at 110 North Nevada Avenue in Colorado Springs.
La Burla B? That sounds like a sexy place, is it?
Oh, it sure is. It's a cabaret club. Now, will we be getting nude?
Probably not. So come on down, check us out. That's right, it's right there at the beginning of August.
Yep.
We are going to see the Focus on the Family headquarters like we promised so long ago, and we're going to tell all of you all about it. And if you're local, you'll probably already know all the good stuff, and you'll be able to correct us on things.
That's right. We'll be documenting it on site in audio and maybe also video format. We're going to bring those recordings along with us. We'll show you some of that shit. We'll talk about what we saw. And we're going to be including as part of it some sort of a charity auction as well for people who are connected to the queer community in Colorado Springs, because that is something that is really, really important to us as well. We need to fight the horror of the project in some meaningful way. To get your tickets as soon as possible, head right down to that link in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you there.
What? Well, it's very hot.
It's too hot.
It's very hot here.
Too darn hot.
We're in a heat dome.
That's what I call it when you.
That's what I call it when I. That's when I call it what.
That's what I do it when there's a heat on
you
there's
on mine.
That's how. Whoa.
Well, that's where you
in
have
on my
the dome out of hot eat the dome.
Hot heat time.
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Welcome to the Worst of All Possible Worlds, the first and only podcast that is so hot. I'm the Worst of All Possible AJs.
I'm the Worst of All Possible Brian's.
And I'm the Worst of All Possible Josh's. And we're back with even more Wits Endless Summer, folks.
Hey!
More like
we were out.
More like hold on. More like Woots Endless Summer.
That's
because
there it is.
Oh, that's such a good point.
everyone, we're doing like Walt Whitman or Wooton, one of those. And we are gliding overall. I've already made this joke and I don't give a fuck.
Well,
because,
Brian, you basically said that in order to get AJ to the point where he could fully comprehend what's going on at the Adventures in Odyssey 1000th episode grand celebration, and I don't forgive you for this decision.
This was so many episodes of Odyssey
This is not
in a
just
row.
about AJ. This is about us too, because with the exception of one episode today, Josh, you and I have never heard any of these before.
That's true, yeah. We didn't know about the world of Jules Kendall and Buck. Not Buck Williams. That's the guy from Let Me On. What the fuck is that kid's last name? Buck whatever.
Buck Meltzner eventually, but
Jules and
Buck Mulligan. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan.
No, there is a Mulligan. There's Nick Mulligan, who gets mentioned in the first episode of this.
Oh
week.
my God.
And you didn't know that? Okay, great.
Sorry. It's just Joyce.
No, it's wonderful. Josh and I stopped listening to the show somewhere around the mid-2000s. My last album that I ever listened to was Eugene Returns.
Okay.
So that was just a little after the Novacom saga. Did you ever even hear Eugene Returns?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I really, truly don't remember.
But
I mean,
you were there for the Novacom saga, which was like early 2000s.
I vaguely remember that. I was
Okay.
kind of aging out of the demo for the show around that
Yes,
time.
so was I, but I was still listening to it. That tells you something.
I was getting into techno, and I was becoming a real thoughtful and more mature adolescent than you.
Yeah, that mid-2000s to now is about 20 years. So there have been 20 years of developments, And Odyssey is nothing at this point, if not just something with a lot of continuity.
Yes.
But dumb continuity, and we'll get to that. I have listened to some episodes from the 2010s. I did it when I was moving back to New York. I decided like, well, I've got a lot of time on the road. Let's just give some of the most melted shit imaginable a go and just see what the hell was going on about,
what
about
did you
10 years
learn?
back. Well, I learned a lot of things about gay people.
Oh.
They love graffiti.
But since this 1000th episode is happening this year, we just finished Darkness Before Dawn. It's like, okay, we got to accelerate. We got to meet all these new characters. Now, most character introductions, most important story beats happen in multi-parters now.
Sure.
In the case of a couple of the characters we're going to meet today, they showed up in a 12-parter and a 14-parter, respectively.
Wow.
That's not feasible for the next 2 months.
Thank you.
And everything else, I was listening to some of the most recent episodes, everything, if it's a one-off, it's just some bullshit. And if it has something to do with like an important character, it's like part of a 4-parter or a 3-parter or 16 interrelated episodes that are kind of separated out. Like, it's just a mess. And there are a lot of eras that we have to explore here, like a tour of those eras.
If you look at the episode numbers in the episode notes, you will notice that we at one point jump 300 episodes from the one before. And what I will say is that it is so interesting to meet a character and then immediately see their Flanderization in one sitting. The man of the hour, of course, Wooton Bassett himself.
Yes.
Yeah, a man who is the most named by Paul McCusker a character has ever been. He's like, hey, it's like that town that all the soldiers get dragged through after they die.
But yes, this is Whit's Endless Summer, the ongoing sub-series of the Worst of All Possible Worlds, in which we listen to episodes of Adventures in Odyssey, the absolutely cracked children's radio drama produced by Focus on the Family. We today will be going through 6 episodes, starting off with episode 472, Welcoming Wooton. And as Brian said, this is a bit of a time jump. We are all the way now forward to May 26th of 2001. So this is like, what, a 5 or 6 year jump from the last episodes we listened to? More than that?
Yeah, this episode came out just after Josie and the Pussycats, to place it properly in its historical context.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
It's very heavily influenced.
At this point in the show, the character of Eugene Meltzner was not around. And the reason for this is that Will Ryan was doing a one-man labor action against Focus on the Family.
Hell yeah, dude.
Because Focus on the Family for Adventures in Odyssey did not have a union contract. It was working with a lot of union talent. It was working with a lot of kids. And then if those kids' voice changed, that's it. They had a handful of episodes that they got paid $50 a piece to do.
Oh my
as in the case of Dave Griffin, who played Jimmy Barkley.
Right.
And that apparently was according to Dave Griffin and his blog, he said, like, that's the thing that Will Ryan told him was like, I didn't like seeing these kids just get screwed over, basically.
Right.
So he left the show. He's like, I will come back when you guys get a SAG contract.
It worked eventually, right? Eugene, as we mentioned before, did in fact return.
Somehow Eugene returned.
It seems like what they needed to do is to fill the gaps where a Eugene-like hole would be. I don't like thinking about the phrase Eugene-like hole, but what we got was Wooton Bassett, who I think like functionally serves the same purpose as Eugene, but is in almost every way the complete opposite of
Why
him.
don't we go ahead and play a clip here? This is Wooton showing up at Whit's End, basically.
I should call Whit.
So, how are you today, Connie?
Not too good. I'm supposed to be at the Timothy Center, but Nick hasn't shown up yet to relieve me.
Fucking
Come on,
Nick.
Whit, answer the phone.
We're sorry, but the cellular customer you're calling is either unavailable or has traveled outside of the calling area.
I hate that recording.
Oh, yeah? Which one was it?
What?
Which recording was it? Because I don't mind the "we're sorry your call did not go through" one so much, but that one with "the number you're calling has been disconnected" is really lousy, because then you don't even know how to reach who you're calling. So which was it?
Which was it? I'm gonna have to close down the shop. There's nobody to work the counter, and I gotta go.
I can do it.
Do what?
Watch the shop if you need me to.
Oh, I don't know.
Hey, if the U.S. government can trust me to deliver the mail, then you shouldn't have a problem trusting me with the shop.
Well, it isn't that I don't trust you.
Then I'll stay, at least until Nick gets here anyway.
But don't you have mail to deliver?
Oh, don't worry about it. I got it covered.
This is Wooton Bassett. Kind of a quirky dude, right? He's always kind of thinking too much. He's getting ahead of himself a little bit.
Yeah, there's no filter. Everything that he thinks
filter.
just kind of comes out of his mouth. Yeah.
I'm curious to hear, AJ, how this character sort of struck you right out of the gate.
I love him. Holy fucking shit. Josh, you always talk about how you like Eugene. I have always found Eugene kind of annoying. Wooton is my Eugene.
I had a feeling this might be the case.
I get it now. I see the Matrix.
Josh hates Wooton. Josh thinks of Wooton much like he thinks of the vile Gerbert. Wooton is a grown-up Gerbert to Josh.
No,
Josh,
no,
I have
no.
heard you. I have heard you spit venom about this man for so long.
I don't love him, but I will say this. There was something about, I think, hearing some stuff from Tori Martin, who is the guy who created Wooton, and that helped me better understand this character and where he was coming from.
Yeah.
And as a result, I had a great deal more patience for him than was the case when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, it was like, where the fuck is Eugene? Who's this goddamn guy?
Who's this ball of just like endless quirk? This guy is just such a well of just manufactured quirky behaviors.
Whimsy. Yeah.
And it turns out, no, he's actually just based on a real dude. Tori Martin, who wrote this episode, we'll talk about him in a minute. In the hands of the wrong voice actor, Wooton could cross that line from just like endless quirk to fucking obnoxious
just
beyond
utterly
all
intolerable.
reason.
Unbearable, yeah.
And he doesn't, and that is because of a pretty expert portrayal by Jess Harnell, who's a veteran voice actor. He's been around for fucking ever. He was Wacko Warner on the Animaniacs, for instance. He's a musician. His father was a jazz composer, and his grandfather was a vaudeville / klezmer musician.
Oh, hell yeah.
So he comes from a long showbiz family, and he used to do like commercials and commercial jingles and probably industrial videos and things like that, where he would sing songs. And there was an engineer who got to know him, got to know how much he liked doing silly voices, and was like, hey, by the way, I work over at Disney. Would you like to record some actual like acted stuff instead of just singing? And so Jess Harnell became the voice of Brer Rabbit at Splash Mountain.
Oh my God, I knew
He was also the voice of the bear in Splash Mountain. He was also the voice of both of the buzzards in Splash Mountain.
Well, all gone now.
All gone now.
And rightfully so, let me say.
Yes. Yeah. No, strangely ill-advised entire thing. Yeah. Did you watch that ride through of the new?
Yeah.
I don't think it's very good.
I sure did. Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's trying to set up stuff for the TV show, but I think that's
a bad idea for the new
it's just not...
Princess and the Frog Splash Mountain ride. The final hill on Splash Mountain, just
has
to get
be
into
terrifying.
Brian's theme park corner, is the scariest thing at all of Disney's parks.
Yes.
Flat out, there is
Mr.
nothing.
Toad's Wild Ride, too. You do go to hell.
That's not scary. It's just warm.
I have a hard time telling those two things apart. Outside right now is terrifying.
Like
it is
pretty
going
scary.
on California Screamin' or the Test Track or the Space Simulator, none of that, or even the Nepal Mount Everest ride, like none of that stuff is as scary, in my opinion, as that fucking drop on Splash Mountain.
Right.
And so they have just made it like all the theming around it is not scary, which I think just makes it really weirdly jarring. And also there is no Dr. Facilier throughout the entire thing. And at that point, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you doing?
One of the best Disney villains we've had in like, 20, 30 years.
But look, I'm enjoying Brian's theme park corner, but we got to pull it back to Wooton
Jess
here.
Harnell.
Or to Jess Harnell, I suppose.
He does like 3 or 4 voices in this episode.
Yeah.
And he's just an incredibly talented guy. And Wooton as a character has stayed now for more than 20 years. And you will be seeing him You will be seeing him, AJ, at Colorado Springs.
And also, it's worth noting, I mean, Jess Harnell now he's 60, which by Odyssey standards is actually pretty young for these actors.
He doesn't look it. Oh my goodness.
No, he looks really good. So AJ, you had said that you love Wooton.
Yes.
What are the things about him that delight you so?
He has such, despite, being based on a guy who's obviously from Alaska and spent a lot of time up in Alaska, he has a very Southern California Christian energy about him. There's a lot of times where you imagine Wooton is about to spin a chair around and tell you a little thing about God, but then also being like, let's make some cupcakes or whatever, right? And so he feels very comfortable to me. And also, but for my not buying into the whole Catholicism thing, I probably would have ended up like Wooton. I see a lot of myself in him, so much so that when I went to go look up fan art for Wooton, one of them looks exactly like me as a 16-year-old. It is uncanny. It looks exactly like my driver's license. I feel like he is such a good energy to bring the show.
Wooton also has like a funny little pop culture footprint because there's that website where you like ask a genie what character you are.
Oh yeah, Akinator, yeah.
And you just answer a bunch of yes or no questions or whatever. Do you wear a hat? Do you, whatever. And a lot of people just get Wooton Bassett from Adventures in Odyssey as what character are you?
Like generally, if you put in inputs that describe yourself, you are more likely than not to get to Wooton Bassett somehow.
Especially if you wear a hat, is what it turns out. If you wear a hat when you go outside, you will become Wooton. I am become Wooton, destroyer of mail.
And again, I can't go outside without wearing a hat anymore because I will be sunburned and die.
So a little bit about Wooton. We've heard that he does work for the mail, the U.S. mail, as a mail carrier.
Yeah.
And he has a real affection for people and for kids in particular. He himself has a little bit of a child mind in terms of his imagination and the way he perceives the world and the speed that he moves at.
He loves reading comic books.
We sort of see in a scene here the way that he interacts with kids. He has a real facility for it. And so Connie having to, leave here and the vile Nick having not shown up for his shift yet.
Nick Mulligan.
Wooton offers to take over for the shift. And when Whit arrives at the shop, it's in a bit of disarray, but also excitement.
Hey, hi, Whit.
Hello, Wooton. What do you do? Why are you... where's Connie?
Oh, she had to be at the Timothy Center.
Okay, where's Nick?
Oh, don't know. Haven't heard a word from him. Hey,
He's dead.
Hey, kiddo, that's U.S. mail you're wiping your mouth with. That's a federal offense, I think.
Oops, sorry.
The napkins are over there.
Well, I certainly appreciate you volunteering to help out. I guess it goes above and beyond the duties of a normal mailman.
Yep, so I guess it's good that I ain't normal.
So, AJ, this is Whit too. Hi, welcome.
Yeah, no, this is Hurlinger, and holy shit, really good.
You get it now, right?
Really, really good. Everything about House Smith that maybe be like, I need to protect my kids from this man. Hurlinger is just like, oh yeah, no, I could see like parents trusting this guy with their kids. I mean, knowing what I know about Whit and his character and his personality, I still wouldn't. But like, so much more so than Whit 1.
It's remarkable that you hear that even in just a few lines, the sort of warmth that he has and the generosity. Particularly, AJ, I think that if you like Wooton and if you like Whit too, once we sort of get back a little bit again, we're going to be moving forward a fair bit. But then once we get back to this era, I think you're going to find a lot to enjoy in these episodes.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the plots are still mind-numbingly boring to me.
Yes.
It is.
Well, I have given you some of the most mind-numbing plots because that's just how it hashes out for the next 2 months. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But once we get back, maybe we'll get some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, everything just feels like it's at kind of the height of polish. And it moves along at a fair clip. And there's something that Paul Hurlinger, with his voice alone, he just brings with him that you're already like, he doesn't do anything in this scene. He just sort of asks a couple of questions.
Yeah, no, he's just there.
And yet you already get a real sense for who this character is.
Yes.
Yeah.
This will change.
Because the thing about Whit 2 is that he has generosity for his fellow man in the way that is not the case with Whit 1.
I think genuinely, like, Whit 2 does not hit kids.
So what you're saying to me is that Whit went to Israel, learned from their kindness and generosity and nonviolence, and came back a better man. There's a point where Connie is talking about how she got Wooton a toy from Smileytown, which is apparently like the Odyssey universe's version of McDonald's.
Yeah.
But when I tried to look it up on the AIO wiki, it does not exist.
Yeah, no, I don't think that actually gets a mention in any episode aside from this one.
I mean, you're just going to have to make the page, AJ. It is canon. It's just that somebody hasn't pinned it down yet.
Oh, no. I just think it's very interesting that there's a whole franchise in this universe that has sort of no real canon ramifications.
So what you're saying is it came in one episode and then it suddenly exited very quickly.
Some sort of way. Like if you're to put a whole building through some sort of door of some description, who's to say?
Hey there, you are listening to a preview of a premium episode of The Worst of All Possible Worlds. If you'd like to listen to the rest of this, head on over to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/worstofall. And you can listen to not only the rest of this episode, but our entire backlog of premium episodes, bonus episodes, and if you subscribe at the $10 tier, you will get an extra episode of the podcast every single month. Again, that is patreon.com/worstofall. Hope to see you there.